So today we are with Gowri Motha, the one who changed my career. And I love Gowri very much, and it's a great pleasure to be here today with you after many years.
Thank you.
And the reason I am here today is because I just want to spread the word. I just want to show everyone who you are, what you do, and I'm going to let you speak.
Thank you, Priscilla.
You're welcome.
It's always been a very great pleasure to see you, and it's lovely to see you again.
Thank
It
you.
was wonderful working with you when we were working more closely.
Yes.
And everything I do is a work in progress.
Yes.
And I don't think we stop learning.
Mm.
And we need to keep all the time innovating, learning more things, making the whole birth preparation more effective, so that it's easier for mothers to have a gentle birth. We all have a dream that we all want a gentle birth, but it requires a certain amount of dedicated attention. And from some of the mothers we need a little bit more, commitment. I always say 20% of mothers, they don't need any preparation. They just walk into a labor suite and they give birth in 2 seconds.
20%.
About that. And maybe another 20% they do fairly well, but then the rest of the mothers, we really have to offer them some particular kind of birth preparation. And it is actually mostly physical, the physical birth preparation, because we all talk about hypnobirthing, hypnotherapy, visualization for birth and all of that, which is a very solid foundation for a mother to be calm in the birth process.
Yeah.
But all of that can't actually change the actual physical structure of a pelvis, which is probably congested. But if a mother is very slim and she doesn't have so much of congestion, not necessarily slim but not toxic. And there are some mothers, that 20% of mothers, they're very good at excreting toxins. Their liver is very good at detoxing all sorts of things out of their system. So they are the lucky ones. I call them birth gifted. So they're the ones who can get rid of toxins, even if they're eating foods which I consider can block the system. And in this aspect, we're trying to keep it really simple. The simplicity is, I'm telling mothers to just give up gluten. Give up gluten, which is contained in wheat and oats and barley and rye. And if there's anything else, please add it to the list. But I actually don't even like gluten-free oats because they're genetically modified, and then there's another protein in it called albino, which also behaves in a sticky manner.
So we have to be careful with gluten-free products as well.
Yes, because, for instance, I forgot to add, it's not only the gluten we have to be free of, it's the sugar. So for instance, if you eat gluten-free biscuits, which are full of sugar, it's really not great. Because every time you metabolize a molecule of sugar, it releases a huge number of free radicals in your body. And what is a free radical? It's something which damages connective tissue and muscle fibers. So if the tissues in for instance the cervix, if it's slightly damaged because of free radical damage, then it will take a bit longer for that cervix to dilate. Or if we think the cervix and the uterus are doing just fine, let's go down to the vaginal opening, the muscles around the vagina. If that is a little bit damaged, a little bit of fibrous tissue and all of that, so then when the baby is actually being born, just trying to be born, it's very, very tight for the mother to be able to push the baby out.
Talking about congestion, being toxic, and I have a question for you. Because I was trying to look into the statistic, and then it shows to us that we have more and more intervention comparing with 100 years ago or more. Do you think it's because our lifestyle, there is a like if you think about how medicalized things become as well, are we losing the ability to trust our body? Everything is combined. What's your opinion about that?
Well, I was just watching so many videos this week on the dangers of food. I mean, food is a major toxin. And I don't want to preach any particular kind of diet, but almost every kind of food that you're eating is polluted with additives, preservatives, and chemical toxins basically. So whatever we are putting into our body is affecting our health. One major physician commented that food is the cause of people having diabetes.
Yes.
If you're eating the wrong food, you get diabetes. And they're saying that there's a lot of toxins in preserved meats. And the supermarket shelves are stuffed full of them. And so on. So, I mean, I don't want to be a whistleblower in any case, because I'm here to help mothers to prepare for birth the easy way. Just avoiding a few major things that I have noticed. Major food things like giving up gluten and cane sugar from the diet. I don't mind people eating a couple of teaspoons of maple syrup or a couple of teaspoons of honey a day, because you do need a little bit of a treat sometimes.
You do. Well, since I know you, when I came to you to learn the creative healing, you always talk about food, and it's when I first heard about gluten and how congestion and all the inflammation and the detoxing. So I always, since then I feel like I'm following it more like on and off, and I can feel the difference. So then, coming back to your program, the gentle birth you start, so it's just you for me, you were the one since ever are talking about those things, the easy way to prepare, and it's
I want to keep it really simple. I mean, I did my first water birth in 1987. In fact, we started preparing the mothers in 1986. And I was still very much working in the NHS system, in the obstetrics. So it was something that we were trialing to see how do women respond better in a pool of water to give birth. And to be honest, a congested mother in a pool of water doesn't do anything. But then I decided I'll see what they do. If I prepare a mother for 2 or 3 months before the birth, tell her to avoid gluten and sugar, exercise sensibly. And then when those mothers were given a little bit of self-hypnotic tools, like relaxing, taking your mind to a safe place, as a distraction policy, and then they're in the water enhances their mental relaxation and the physical relaxation, and then they were able to give birth without intervention. And in those early days, I didn't do any vaginal preparation. We never did vaginal oiling or vaginal stretching. So they still gave birth without much problems. 1 or 2 mothers would have a little tear, which they needed stitching. So then when I was searching for more and more elements that can be added to make birth easier for mothers, I went to India and I met loads of Ayurvedic gynecologists who use vaginal oil in the vagina in a cotton wool ball from 36 weeks onwards. And I met a wonderful female gynecologist in Kerala. She had done a series of 2,000 mothers with the vaginal oil every day from 36 weeks to term. And out of 2,000 mothers, 5% of them had vaginal tears. All the others didn't have a vaginal tear. So that's pretty impressive, and therefore I brought the vaginal oiling to England, to the mothers who came to me to prepare themselves for a gentle birth. And in fact, I'm very happy to say that a lot of the mothers actually refer their friends to me just for the vaginal preparation. Because I think every mother does not want to tear.
Doesn't want to hear the tearing.
So we added that stretch technique,
Mm-hmm.
and that was even more popular and fabulous.
And one thing, I love to hear this from you because I trust you and you're doing this. How many years we've been doing, like supporting women and preparing women?
Well, I started preparing women, as I said, from 1986.
Yes.
And I was just fascinated to be able to watch a woman give birth spontaneously
Mm-hmm.
without people touching her or manipulating.
Mm-hmm. You always, every time I mean, you're talking and I'm thinking like, it's amazing how you can support and prepare women,
Yeah.
like giving their body confidence, with all the tools that we have, and,
Yeah.
and then nobody talks about it. I feel like that. I don't know. I mean, if, like clinical staff, they are trying to find evidence based on Epinol or whatever it is, but then they don't look into Kerala.
Well, I mean, the other day I had a very young doctor, gynecologist. She came to the visualization classes, and I told her, let me show you the vaginal stretch technique and all of that. And she found it fascinating.
Mm.
She said, why isn't everybody talking about it
Yeah,
in the hospitals? And she's a gynecologist.
yeah,
So I said, well, young gynecologists like you
yeah,
can then start talking about it
yeah.
to other pregnant mothers. So it's just common sense. But as we know, when you have an establishment like the NHS, it takes many, many years for change to be implemented.
Yeah. But you're doing it with one of NHS hospitals. You
Yes,
have a-
we have got a little link with the Whittington Hospital,
Yes,
and we are offering the visualization classes
yeah,
and the gentle birth brand of yoga, birth-led yoga moves, all
yeah.
micro movements,
Yeah,
and visualization. And we also have a tiny reflexology clinic which is running there at low cost,
yeah,
and the creative healing pregnancy therapeutic massage
yeah,
to open up the lymphatic channels and everything.
yeah. I mean, I wish we could spread around London and all the clinical staff, and everyone talks about how to improve maternity care.
Yeah.
And why don't we establish things like that into maternity services and trying to help to reduce the number of the interventions that we have? Do you see, like, comparing again, like with your experience old days and now, do we see more traumas out there, more traumatic birth? And another thing that you mentioned when we were talking about the birth preparation is the physiological process and woman laboring without anyone touching.
Yes.
So,
I mean, it is very thrilling to watch a woman in a birthing pool dilating and the baby pops out without anybody touching her.
yeah,
And that would be the gold standard for almost every mother. And to be honest, the mothers have to prepare for this. It doesn't happen by accident.
yeah,
Doesn't happen by, miraculous means. Yes, as I said, 20% of mothers will be able to do that.
yeah,
But the rest of the mothers have to put a tiny little bit of attention into what they eat and how they think and how they breathe.
yes,
And they will have a wonderful, easier birth. Yes, I mean, I've been with mothers who've had wonderful water births, but the labor itself was quite intense.
yes,
It's sort of in and out of the pool, breathing heavily but focusing, believing, and then final result was gorgeous.
yes, it's gorgeous. I personally I found hard on these days when you can prepare someone, they can follow your program, and then they go to give birth in the hospitals where no one literally know how to support and respect this physiologic process. No one knows how to support you without touching you. What can I do to have someone supporting me without touching me, like respecting my physiological process? I went through your program. I feel like emotionally strong, physically prepared, but then I have to deal with the hospital.
Well, I'm completely happy about midwives touching clients, mothers, in an appropriate way. I mean, you can touch, you can
Yeah.
be compassionate,
Yeah.
you can examine vaginally, gently, compassionately. And I totally respect a lot of the midwives for the care that they give the mothers.
Mm-hmm.
The odd situation when the mothers enter the birthing unit when they're very busy
Mm-hmm.
and the midwives don't have enough time,
Yeah.
then that is when there's something not quite right. And the mothers feel as if they're being rushed, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or unnecessary procedures are advised because there's a little fear inspired because the baby's heart rate is slightly slow or a bit too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So then medical intervention comes in,
Yeah.
mainly because people don't have the time to sit down for a few minutes, calm the mother down,
Mm-hmm.
and reassess.
Yes. Time. I
Yeah.
think it's a thing of these days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I feel like once you are in, you have to go out, and the number of in labor there,
Yeah.
they don't have time to sit and.
Well, exactly. That is why more and more home births are being advised
Yeah.
with independent midwifery services, NHS-led home birthing teams,
Yeah.
which is very lovely.
It is lovely, and don't you think that just because you mentioned home birth now, we don't have in our memories. I think about like my generation or even youngest, who is giving birth at home. So it's an option that they don't even consider. Like they just ignore completely. Like they in my head, like they want to feel safe, and they trust that the hospital is the safest place. But then it's in the hospital that we see all these interventions and traumatic.
Yeah, but to be honest, there are lots of lovely birthing units in hospitals
Yes.
where you don't have any interventions.
Yes.
But again, I'm coming back to the responsibility that every mother has to prepare herself in the best way she can.
Yes.
Because if she prepares herself in the best way, she's more likely to have an intervention-free birth.
Mm-hmm.
So I get emails all the time, women who have just read my book and followed the program as much as they can. They took the herbs, did the exercises, the yoga videos, which is in the book, the yoga sequences. And then they write to me and say, I followed it and I had a good birth.
Yeah.
And they did it all with themselves. There was no birth support with them. And of course I have my audio tapes.
Yes.
That it's like you can get it on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
And they listen to it. I have a labor track that you listen to during labor, so it just keeps your mind focused.
Yeah. So you see why we want to spread the word, because I feel like I can rely on me to do my own research and see what I have there and read and see the statistics, and it's all there. I used to go to your visualization class and even birth rehearsals after yoga class, and it's when I'm working with my clients and when I'm doing my group, I don't do that, but I always talk about that. So we do one exercise. I remember you were doing which I use myself, I have to say, when I feel anxious, like what is my safe place, and trying to bring my mind there.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing to do, in my opinion. So is there a difference from these classes to hypnobirthing, or there are so many things in, as you said, if you Google, you're gonna have.
There are millions of hypnobirthing tracks out there,
Yeah.
and teachers and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The central message is relax.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that everyone out there teaching hypnobirthing is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference between what they are doing and what I am doing is because I have partnered it up with a physical preparation program,
Yes.
which is not only food and what to eat and what not to eat.
So can we say that the gentle birth method, your way,
Yeah.
it's mind, it's
And
body,
body.
and then when we talk
And
about
the
how-
food.
and the food, so we have a bit of nutrition, we do have a lot of body preparation
Yes.
and mind. So it's combining those
And
three.
mobility.
Mobility. Yes. Okay.